Khajuraho. The region was known as Vatsa in ancient time, and Jacques Bukti in medieval times, and Bundelkhand from the 14th century on. Here in India, and in this small town of Khajuraho. I've never understood how you play it, and I probably won't learn today. Far back, this guy on the right starts. Apparently, if the guy in the yellow strikes the ball well enough, so apparently the guy on the left in the yellow, if he hits the ball correctly and knocks it somewhere down this way, he can run to that post on the right that you see, the white one, and then back to where he is now. If he doesn't get tagged, and then that's a point of some sort. I'm in the old part of Khajuraho. You can see a temple over there. The western complex of temples we'll be looking at is over there. This is Shiv Sagar Lake, or tank, better term. So far the impression that you get here is that this is a very pretty town, relatively low key. Much of the trash is picked up. This is a pretty lake, but not much has been done with it. Some private homes. The hotel over there being either remodeled or going up. All this has been done in the past neatly. Maybe this reflects that tourism is just emerging. There's dinner. It looks like this city has been, over time, made into a pretty tourist area, or at least an attempt to do that. They have the lakes, which is kind of like Udaipur, but they don't have the crushing population. They have a nice cool wind here. You can see that it's an older restoration of the area in some respects, but with a brand new spanking, good looking modern airport terminal. I'm just going to kind of lazily walk around the lake. I need to find a restaurant later on. That's a pretty walkway down there, at least it originally was. It's deteriorating, of course. Build and forget. In the town, my hostel's up here on the left. Can't see us behind those trees somewhere. But on this side of the lake, it looks like the countryside. So I may be able to rent a bike or a motorbike. They've got them for rent. Came out of my hostel and a guy started dogging me about a motorcycle. I asked him how much it was. They said 500 rupees, which is what somebody else had wanted to charge me. Kept dogging me, and I told him to leave me alone. I put my arm out, basically said back off. He did, and then he came right on again, and then I got in his face. I was pissed. The touts you have zero respect for. Show them no respect. That's what they're doing with you. They'll dog you. Show them no respect. There, and we'll get a little bit closer. There's some herdsmen of goats, and they travel around India, whatever parts they want to, and they collect wood for their own fires, but they use this pole device to pull down branches with which to sometimes feed their goats. In Rajasthan, there were certain trees that they would saw the limbs off of. Here they're just pulling them down, I think. Pull down some branches and they're eagerly jumping all over those. And this is how they feed themselves. Voracious, so she has to make sure she kicks those branches out of the way or they'll be ruffling her up. Saw them doing it in the valley towns also. It may be a a cultural way of trimming trees for the trees' benefit also. I couldn't navigate around the lake because it's blocked off, but I thought I'd explore going around this temple complex, but it may also be blocked. We'll see. Doesn't look like I can get around here, but I'll go down and see if that's any way across down there. I can work my way across that, but I'm not sure to what gain. Looks like this irrigation project, which must have cost a lot to install, is just abandoned, allowed to rot down. This area looks like it got carpet bombed, but I think those holes is where they dug out sand to process, maybe for making that wall, I don't know. It's possible they're going to build something in here, don't know that either. I'm guessing this wall I'm following is an intent to create an archaeological area over here, perhaps in response to this structure, similar to the fenced-in area for those temples over there. People resent being blockaded out of their easy access into town, so they've knocked down the wall sufficient enough to give them access again. This is a well. Interesting. There are several close at hand that are these big wells. The remains of a temple. If you're wondering what happened to all the stone, it's probably in most of the buildings that we'll be looking at in town. Notice how farmers protect their field crops by putting up these fences of that, what I call cat's claw equivalent in Arizona. More informal cricket game. Most everything in India, it goes unfinished.
I'm not seller people, I'm a student.
This pretty little park worth walking about. This town has made some strong moves towards tourism, just mostly incomplete. Here, pleasant walkways and a collection of details taken from old temples. It used to sit on a nice little stone walled promontory. Now it's falling down. This is the tank that probably once had water and was pretty, and now it's just deteriorated down into a slough. To enjoy India, you have to pretend that it's what it was supposed to be, not what it is. Even still, for the Indian, it's a very pretty place because there aren't very many places like this, and even fewer that the average Indian would be allowed into. It's not dominated by expensive hotels who paid the appropriate bribes. Interesting that work has been done to keep the animals out and to at least establish a perimeter of this little park. And of course, without a heck of a lot of effort, it could be made quite nice again. This area anticipated some kind of gathering of the peeps for entertainment or whatever. You see that it's laid out nicely, and whoever takes care of it, I'm sure with minimal support, does a good job. And thank you. Even the carved stones are falling down for the second time in their lives. Imagine how pretty this would be if it were filled up to that water line, and maybe it gets that way in spite of these folks during the monsoon season. But again, the caretaker's done a nice job. I'm guessing that's an original. What an ample buttocks. Actually, everything is ample. One of the features or motifs of the carvings here in Khajuraho are the sexually explicit carvings. So this may be foreshadowing that. Quite a body, isn't it? It's a very pretty layout. Still is, thanks to the groundskeepers. If the pond had water, you could scoot around in tight little circles. And these rigs almost looks like a linga, but what I think it is just a compilation of scraps piled on top of each other with a lotus flower at the top, which is appropriate. I first walked down to see the cricket game probably an hour ago. This little animal was alive right here. Now he's dead. Any surprise?